Focus is the ultimate advantage because it is the force that separates the average from the extraordinary. In life, talent, opportunity, and resources matter, but without focus, they are wasted. Focus allows you to channel your energy into what truly moves the needle in your life. It is the lens that sharpens your vision, clarifies your purpose, and eliminates the noise that keeps most people stuck in mediocrity. When you focus, distractions lose their power and your actions become deliberate, precise, and effective. Without focus, your mind scatters, your energy diffuses, and your results stagnate. You may work hard, but if your attention is divided among too many things, progress becomes slow and inconsistent. Focus turns scattered effort into exponential results. It takes the same hours, the same energy, but transforms them into breakthroughs instead of frustration. The person who focuses on mastering one skill will surpass the person who dabbles in 10 without depth. The world rewards depth, not breadth. And focus is the tool that creates depth. Focus is also about control. When you decide where your attention goes, you take ownership of your life. You no longer react to every distraction, every message, every trend, or every opinion. Instead, you choose what deserves your energy, what contributes to your growth, and what moves you closer to your goals. Focus gives you authority over your time and your mind. It turns the chaotic noise of the world into a clear path toward success. Every great achiever in history has understood this: control your focus, and you control your destiny. Focus requires sacrifice. You cannot give your full attention to something if you are trying to please everyone or chase every opportunity. It demands saying no to the things that do not serve your purpose, even when they seem appealing. This is why most people fail to leverage focus. They are unwilling to let go of comfort, approval, or distraction. True focus is uncomfortable at times because it isolates you from the crowd, but it is precisely in that isolation that greatness is born. Consistency amplifies focus. Focusing once or twice is not enough. Focus must be cultivated daily. The small intentional choices you make consistently compound over time. Every hour spent improving your craft, learning, or building your dreams adds up, while the hours lost to distractions silently subtract from your potential. Focus transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results when practiced relentlessly over months and years, not just days. Focus also protects your energy. Every time you scatter your attention, you waste your most valuable resource, time. Energy spent on trivial matters diminishes the energy you could have used to build, grow, and achieve. Focus acts like a filter, allowing only what is essential to reach your goals to enter your mental space. It ensures that your energy is invested wisely and that your actions are intentional, directed, and productive. Focus creates clarity. When your attention is fixed on a single goal, your mind begins to see solutions rather than obstacles. Problems that seemed overwhelming start to break down into manageable steps. The path to success becomes visible because focus illuminates the way forward. Without focus, everything seems scattered, confusing, and impossible. With focus, even the most complex challenges become solvable because your mind is not distracted by irrelevance. Focus strengthens confidence. As you concentrate on your goals and take consistent action, small wins accumulate. These wins build momentum, reinforcing your belief in yourself and your abilities. Confidence is born from seeing that your focused effort produces results, not from empty motivation or external validation. The more you focus and act, the stronger your confidence becomes, creating a feedback loop that propels you even further. Focus drives innovation. When your mind is concentrated on a problem or a goal, it begins to explore ideas and solutions that scattered thinking could never generate. Creativity thrives in focus because your mind is fully engaged and deeply involved. The breakthroughs, the aha moments, and the unique strategies that change outcomes all come from sustained attention and deep mental immersion. Those who are distracted rarely innovate. Those who focus consistently lead change. Finally, focus is the ultimate advantage because it creates leverage. While everyone else wastes their potential chasing trends, comparing themselves, or reacting to circumstances, the focused individual multiplies their impact through clarity, action, and persistence. Focus turns ordinary time, ordinary effort, and ordinary talent into extraordinary results. It is the invisible edge that separates those who dream from those who achieve, and it is available to anyone who chooses to harness it deliberately and relentlessly. Distraction is the real enemy because it quietly steals your time, your energy, and your potential without you even realizing it. It disguises itself as entertainment, social interaction, or even productivity, and before you know it, hours slip away while nothing meaningful gets accomplished. The majority of failures, missed opportunities, and stalled dreams are not caused by a lack of talent, knowledge, or resources. They are caused by allowing attention to wander. Distraction is subtle, but it is deadly, and it is the number one obstacle standing between you and your success. Every distraction has a cost. Even small interruptions break your concentration and reduce your ability to perform at a high level. A single notification, a fleeting thought, or an unimportant conversation can derail progress and make difficult tasks feel impossible. Your brain has limited mental bandwidth, and when it is split between too many things, performance suffers. The more you allow your attention to be pulled away from what matters, the slower your growth, and the farther your dreams move out of reach. Distraction thrives on habit. Most people do not consciously choose to waste time. They develop patterns that allow distraction to take control. Scrolling endlessly on social media, checking messages repeatedly, jumping between tasks without finishing any, and giving into every impulse trains the mind to react rather than focus. Habits shape outcomes more than intentions, and when distraction becomes a habit, it quietly dictates the direction of your life without you even noticing. The enemy of distraction is discipline. To fight distraction, you must train your mind to resist the immediate pull of gratification in favor of long-term gain. This means creating environments that protect your attention, setting boundaries on where your energy goes, and practicing the art of saying no. Discipline is not about rigidity, it is about control. It is about taking back the power over your own time and attention so that you can invest them in the things that actually matter. Distraction often comes dressed as urgency. People tend to respond to what seems pressing rather than what is important. Emails, messages, calls, and minor crises demand immediate attention, and if you allow yourself to respond to every one, your priorities vanish. The world is full of urgent distractions, but success is found in attending to what is important even when it is not urgent. Recognizing this difference is critical, because what seems urgent rarely moves you closer to your goals, while what is important compounds over time. Distraction is also emotional. Fear, doubt, and insecurity often pull attention away from productive work. You may find yourself avoiding tasks that challenge you because your mind wants comfort, validation, or approval. Emotional distraction is particularly dangerous because it disguises itself as self-care, relaxation, or reflection, when in reality it is procrastination in a clever form. Conquering distraction requires both mental and emotional mastery. Technology magnifies distraction. Notifications, endless streams of content, and constant connectivity make it nearly impossible to focus without intentional effort. While technology can be a powerful tool for growth, it is also a playground for the mind if left unchecked. Learning to control technology instead of being controlled by it is a skill that separates those who achieve from those who drift through life reacting to every ping and every update. Distraction destroys momentum. Progress, especially in ambitious goals, is not a series of grand leaps, but a steady accumulation of small, focused actions. When your attention is constantly pulled away, momentum is lost, and the effort to regain it is exhausting. The person who can minimize distraction and protect their focus consistently builds unstoppable momentum, while the distracted individual struggles to even begin. Distraction undermines confidence. When you allow yourself to be scattered, tasks remain unfinished, goals slip, and your sense of capability erodes. You start questioning your discipline, your skills, and even your purpose. Conversely, when you minimize distraction and focus on deliberate action, small wins accumulate, self-trust strengthens, and confidence grows. Distraction is not just a thief of time, it is a thief of belief in your own potential. Finally, distraction is insidious because it is everywhere and it will never go away on its own. The world is designed to keep you busy, entertained, and reactive. Ignoring distraction is not an option if you want to achieve greatness. You must actively identify it, fight it, and create systems that protect your attention. The battle against distraction is ongoing, and it is the decisive factor that separates those who achieve extraordinary results from those who watch opportunities pass them by. Self-improvement beats comparison, because the only person you should ever measure yourself against is who you were yesterday. Comparison steals joy, steals energy, and steals focus from the one thing that truly matters: becoming the best version of yourself. When you constantly compare your journey to someone else's highlight reel, you forget that their path, resources, timing, and struggles are unique. The moment you shift your attention from others to yourself, growth accelerates, and your potential unfolds in ways comparison never allows. Comparison creates unnecessary pressure. You begin to chase outcomes instead of process, trying to match or exceed what others have achieved without considering whether it aligns with your strengths, goals, or purpose. This pressure often leads to stress, frustration, and even paralysis, because the benchmark is someone else's life, not yours. Self-improvement, on the other hand, focuses on incremental progress, building habits, and developing skills that compound over time, creating results that are both sustainable and authentic. When you compare, you are often motivated by fear, envy, or insecurity. You measure yourself by what someone else has, rather than by the potential within you. This mindset keeps you in a reactive state, chasing what seems better or bigger, rather than proactively cultivating what is meaningful and achievable for your life. Self-improvement replaces fear with purpose and envy with action, turning energy that would be wasted on comparison into momentum for personal growth. Self-improvement is measurable. You can track skills learned, habits formed, knowledge gained, and consistency maintained. These are real indicators of progress that belong entirely to you. Comparison, however, is subjective and endless. There will always be someone doing more, earning more, or appearing better. By focusing on self-improvement, you gain control over your growth, seeing tangible results that build confidence, resilience, and competence rather than chasing a moving target defined by someone else. Comparison also breeds distraction. You waste mental energy wondering what others are doing, what they have, or how they got ahead, instead of concentrating on your own work. Every minute spent comparing is a minute taken away from action, learning, and growth. Self-improvement refocuses that energy, redirecting attention to practices that yield real outcomes, ensuring that every effort contributes directly to your goals and your future. Growth is internal, not external. While comparison fixates on external validation and recognition, self-improvement strengthens character, mindset, and skill. It builds resilience because you learn to trust your progress, rely on your abilities, and understand your capacity to overcome challenges. Comparison, by contrast, leaves you dependent on other people's achievements, leaving your self-worth fragile and tied to factors you cannot control. Self-improvement is a long-term strategy. The effects compound over time, turning small, consistent actions into massive advantages. When you focus on learning, refining, and developing yourself every day, your skills, discipline, and mindset grow exponentially. Comparison, however, is short-sighted, focusing on immediate results and superficial measures of success that often lead to frustration and stagnation rather than mastery. Comparison diminishes individuality. Each person has unique strengths, experiences, and perspectives that can only shine when nurtured and developed. By constantly looking at others, you risk imitating rather than innovating, copying rather than creating. Self-improvement allows you to harness your uniqueness, build on your authentic abilities, and craft a version of success that belongs solely to you, unmatched by anyone else. Self-improvement fosters confidence. When you see tangible progress in your skills, habits, and achievements, you develop self-trust. You begin to rely on your own capabilities instead of the approval or positioning of others. Comparison, on the other hand, erodes confidence because there will always be someone who seems ahead, leaving you feeling inadequate or left behind. Confidence is built on mastery, not on measuring yourself against a moving target. Finally, self-improvement is empowering while comparison is draining. Improvement puts you in control, giving you agency over your life, your growth, and your success. Comparison puts you at the mercy of external factors, constantly chasing, reacting, and wondering if you are enough. When you focus on becoming better every day, you create a trajectory of progress that no one can derail, a momentum that builds with time, and a sense of purpose that comparison can never provide. Discipline creates inevitable results. Expand it and don't add any ending sentence and make it lengthy in 10 paragraphs without heading and conclusion. Discipline creates inevitable results because it transforms intention into action and action into measurable outcomes. Talent, motivation, and opportunity can only take you so far, but without discipline, even the greatest potential goes unrealized. Discipline is the bridge between knowing what to do and actually doing it consistently over time. It is the force that ensures progress does not depend on mood, feelings, or fleeting inspiration, but on a committed structure that moves you forward every single day. Discipline is the engine of consistency. The person who shows up when they don't feel like it, who pushes through resistance, and who honors their commitments regardless of external circumstances builds momentum that cannot be stopped. Motivation is fleeting and inspiration is unreliable, but discipline is steady, dependable, and relentless. It is the invisible power behind every long-term success, turning ordinary effort into extraordinary results over months and years. Discipline eliminates procrastination. It forces action even when the task feels difficult, boring, or uncomfortable. Most people fail not because a task is impossible, but because they delay, hesitate, and avoid what is necessary. Discipline removes the argument, the hesitation, and the excuses, creating a path of persistent forward motion. Every action taken consistently, no matter how small, compounds into progress that cannot be ignored. Discipline strengthens character. It trains your mind and body to resist short-term gratification in favor of long-term gain. It teaches patience, perseverance, and resilience, and it builds the self-control required to overcome distractions, setbacks, and temptations. Character developed through discipline becomes unshakable, providing the foundation for decisions, actions, and strategies that align with your goals and purpose. Discipline also creates predictability. When you commit to consistent action, you can anticipate results over time. The habits you form, the routines you follow, and the systems you implement all produce measurable outcomes that accumulate gradually. There is no luck involved. There is only the inevitable result of persistent effort, repeated day after day, regardless of circumstances. This predictability is the ultimate advantage because it allows you to plan, adjust, and scale with confidence. Discipline fosters focus. When your attention is guided by structure and intentional habits, distractions lose their power. You stop reacting to impulses, trends, or other people's agendas and instead channel your energy toward what truly matters. Focused, disciplined action magnifies the impact of every effort, turning small, consistent steps into massive progress that feels effortless to those who are not committed. Discipline builds resilience. Life is unpredictable, and obstacles are inevitable. Motivation alone cannot carry you through difficult times, but discipline ensures you continue moving forward even when challenges arise. By practicing discipline daily, you develop the mental toughness required to persist when others quit, to keep executing when results are slow, and to maintain momentum when circumstances are unfavorable. Resilience created through discipline is a force that makes failure temporary and progress unstoppable. Discipline drives mastery. Every skill, every habit, and every goal requires repetition and refinement. Talent may offer a head start, but only discipline ensures sustained practice and improvement. Through disciplined repetition, you develop expertise, precision, and efficiency, turning ordinary actions into exceptional performance. Mastery is not an accident, it is the inevitable result of discipline, deliberate, and focused effort over time. Discipline protects your time and energy. By committing to structure, routines, and boundaries, you prevent chaos, distraction, and wasted effort. It allows you to prioritize what matters, invest in high-impact actions, and avoid the drain of scattered attention. Your productivity multiplies because every action is intentional, deliberate, and aligned with your larger purpose, creating a compounding effect that leads to results that feel inevitable to outside observers. Finally, discipline transforms vision into reality. Dreams remain fantasies without action, plans remain ideas without execution, and potential remains untapped without structure. Discipline ensures that you do what is necessary day after day, even when it is uncomfortable, inconvenient, or unpopular. It turns ambition into achievement, effort into progress, and persistence into success, creating results that are not random or accidental, but guaranteed through consistent, deliberate, and unwavering action. Silence is a strategy that most people misunderstand because the world has trained them to believe that progress must always be loud. Many assume that if they are not constantly announcing their intentions, explaining their plans, or defending their actions, they are somehow falling behind. In reality, silence can be one of the most intelligent tools a focused person possesses. It allows you to move without interference, to think without pressure, and to grow without unnecessary expectations. When you remain quiet about your direction, you protect your energy from being pulled into arguments and opinions that do not serve you. The ability to hold your tongue is often the first sign of maturity and self-control. In a noisy environment, silence becomes a shield. Every day, people invite others into their unfinished dreams and wonder why those dreams get polluted. Words have a way of creating commitments before you are ready to fulfill them. By choosing silence, you give yourself room to experiment and adjust. You can change your mind, refine your methods, and correct your mistakes without being judged for every step. Silence keeps your goals pure and personal. It denies access to critics who feed on discouraging possibilities. A quiet mind working in a quiet manner is difficult for distractions to locate. Silence is also a classroom where awareness is developed. When you stop talking, you start noticing. You hear what others are really saying instead of preparing your next response. You observe patterns, motives, and opportunities that loud people miss. Strategic silence gives you information, and information gives you power. It teaches patience because not everything requires immediate reaction. Many conflicts continue only because someone insists on filling every gap with speech. Silence breaks that cycle and places you back in command of yourself. There is strength in not needing to be understood by everyone. Silence as a strategy means being confident enough to let results speak later. Too many individuals trade their future victories for present explanations. They feel obligated to justify the journey to people who are not traveling with them. Silence removes that obligation. It keeps your vision internal and your actions external. When you work quietly, you build quietly, and what you build becomes more solid. Silence helps you avoid the temptation of seeking validation instead of seeking improvement. Silence forces discipline upon your emotions. The moment you decide not to respond to provocation, you win time. Time cools anger, reduces fear, and clarifies confusion. Silence prevents small problems from becoming big disasters. It is a deliberate pause between stimulus and decision. Strategic people use that pause to choose wisely. Loud reactions are usually impulsive reactions. Silence teaches you to be measured and intentional. It gives you the upper hand over your own ego. Many of the greatest moves in life are prepared in secret. Silence creates privacy, and privacy creates focus. When nobody knows what you are planning, nobody can tell you it cannot be done. Silence protects enthusiasm from premature exposure. It keeps you working for the right reasons instead of working for attention. Silence is where confidence rehearses before courage performs. Those who talk the most often do the least because speech becomes a substitute for execution. Silence refuses to play that game. Silence is misunderstood as weakness only by people who need noise to feel important. True strategy does not require an audience. When you are silent, you are not inactive. You are simply choosing not to waste resources on showmanship. Silence lets you build leverage before making demands. It allows you to prepare instead of pretend. The quiet approach often outruns the flashy approach because it is fueled by substance. Silence keeps you aligned with purpose rather than performance. It is a deliberate decision to keep moving while keeping quiet. Silence develops credibility over time. When you stop promising and start producing, people eventually notice. Strategic silence means allowing your character to be revealed gradually. It prevents you from overexposing your ambition. Silence lets you underpromise and overdeliver. It creates an element of surprise in a world addicted to predictability. Silence protects you from being trapped by your own declarations. The more you practice silence, the more intentional your words become when you finally choose to use them. Silence is where wisdom grows roots. It is difficult to learn while you are always speaking. Strategy requires reflection, and reflection requires quietness. Silence allows you to check your motives and examine your direction. It gives you space to plan several steps ahead instead of living one sentence at a time. Strategic people understand that not every thought deserves to be shared. Silence keeps you in control of the narrative of your life. It prevents others from writing chapters that belong to you. Above all, silence is a long-term investment in yourself. It is the strategy of working harder than you advertise, believing more than you broadcast, and preparing more than you proclaim. Silence lets you become instead of merely appear. It keeps you centered when the world tries to scatter you. Silence preserves momentum and protects peace. Those who master silence master influence over their own journey and their own destiny because silence is not empty. It is simply full of strategy and purpose waiting patiently to unfold. Winning is a system, not luck. Even though many people prefer the comforting illusion that success happens by accident, from a distance, victory often looks like a fortunate event, a random break, or perfect timing. But up close, it is almost always the result of organized habits and repeatable behaviors. Systems create structure, and structure produces consistency, and consistency is the real foundation of winning. Luck may influence a moment, but systems influence a lifetime. When you build a personal framework for how you think, work, plan, and execute, you remove randomness from the equation. Winners do not rely on hope. They rely on routines that guide them regardless of circumstances. Most people never win consistently because they never design a method for consistent performance. They treat goals like wishes instead of engineering them like machines. A system means having clear standards, daily disciplines, and non-negotiable actions that operate whether you feel motivated or not. Winning systems include preparation, learning, measuring progress, correcting mistakes, and doing the basics over and over without getting bored of them. What looks exciting on the outside is usually very simple on the inside. Systems force you to focus on inputs instead of obsessing over outcomes. When the right actions are repeated long enough, winning becomes almost automatic. A true winning system begins with mindset before it ever reaches behavior. How you interpret problems, how you respond to setbacks, and how you manage your emotions are all parts of the machinery of success. Winners think in processes, steps, and patterns, while others think only in events. A system teaches you to break big ambitions into small daily requirements. It removes excuses because it gives you a blueprint to follow. When you have a system, you know exactly what to do next instead of wandering in confusion. The more detailed and intentional your personal system becomes, the less room there is for failure to hide. Systems beat luck because they outlast moods and seasons. Anyone can win once with a little good fortune, but only systems allow you to win again and again. Rainy days, difficult markets, personal struggles, and unexpected obstacles cannot shut down a well-built system. That is why the most successful people in any field follow schedules, strategies, and principles instead of waiting for inspiration. A system turns effort into an asset that keeps paying you back. It ensures that even when you lose a round, you do not lose direction. Systems keep you moving forward when luck is nowhere to be found. Winning systems are built on tracking and accountability. What gets measured gets managed, and what gets managed gets improved. Systems require feedback loops that tell you whether you are getting better or getting sloppy. Luck has no memory, but systems remember everything and adjust accordingly. A system notices weaknesses and strengthens them before they become fatal. It helps you recognize what works and eliminate what does not. Consistent evaluation is part of consistent winning. Without a system of review, people repeat the same errors and call it bad luck. Discipline is the engine that keeps a winning system alive. Systems demand that you show up, do the work, and respect the process even when nobody is watching. Luck cannot be summoned on command, but disciplined systems can be activated every single morning. The system does not care about your feelings, it cares about your actions. That is why systems are so powerful. They reduce emotional decision making and replace it with planned behavior. When you follow a system, you do not need to be perfect. You only need to be persistent. Persistence inside a system produces progress that eventually produces winning. Systems create predictability in an unpredictable world. They allow you to control the controllable instead of stressing over things you cannot influence. A winning system includes time management, skill development, health maintenance, financial planning, and relationship boundaries all working together. Winning is rarely one big thing. It is many small things coordinated properly. Systems help you avoid distractions that drain your momentum. They keep you aligned with long-term purpose instead of short-term pleasure. Winners protect their systems because they understand that the system is the real source of their advantage. Every champion in history followed a system, even if observers called it talent or destiny. Athletes train with systems, businesses grow with systems, leaders operate with systems, and confident people live by systems. Luck is too fragile to support serious dreams. Systems are reliable, logical, and durable, and they turn ordinary people into extraordinary performers over time. What you do repeatedly matters more than what happens occasionally. Systems transform potential into performance. That is the hidden truth behind every story of consistent winning. A winning system removes the need for external validation. When you trust your system, you stop comparing yourself to others and start competing with your own previous version. Systems give you personal authority because they prove effectiveness through repetition. Luck needs applause, but systems need only execution. Winners do not chase lucky streaks, they build dependable methods. Systems keep you calm because you already know the process works. Confidence grows naturally when a system shows steady improvement. Winning becomes less emotional and more mechanical. The greatest benefit of understanding that winning is a system is that it puts control back into your hands. You realize that success is something you construct instead of something you stumble upon. Systems allow you to keep growing, keep improving, and keep advancing without waiting for perfect conditions. Luck is an excuse people use to explain outcomes they did not plan for. Winners respect the power of systems because systems organize effort into achievement, organize dreams into realities, and organize people into winners by design rather than by chance.